Good afternoon. This is IELTS Speaking Test, and my name is Alex. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Good afternoon, Alex. Yes, my full name is Mia Thompson.
Thank you. And what can I call you?
Just Mia is fine.
Great. May I see your identification, please?
Of course. Here you are.
Thank you very much. All right, Mia. In this first part, I'd like to ask you a few questions about yourself. Let's start with your work. Do you work or are you a student?
I work. I'm a registered nurse at a public hospital here in the city.
And what kind of work do you do exactly?
Well, I'm part of the acute care team, so I mainly work with patients who need immediate medical attention. Things like severe infections, respiratory issues, or post-operative complications. My role involves monitoring their condition, administering medication, coordinating with doctors, and supporting families who are often quite anxious.
Why did you choose that job?
I suppose it started when I was quite young. My grandmother was ill for several years, and I spent a lot of time in hospitals. I remember watching the nurses, how calm and compassionate they were, and thinking that their presence made a huge difference. So nursing felt like a natural path for me. I wanted a career where I could combine science with genuine human connection.
Do you like your job?
I do, very much. It's demanding, of course, but incredibly meaningful. Every day feels purposeful. Even small things like helping a patient sit up for the first time after surgery can feel like a real achievement. And I enjoy the teamwork. The environment is fast-paced, but we support each other constantly.
Is there anything you dislike about your job?
Well, if I'm being honest, the emotional toll can be heavy at times. You get attached to patients, and not every case has a positive outcome. And the long shifts, especially night shifts, can be exhausting. But overall, those challenges don't outweigh the satisfaction I get from the work.
Thank you, Mia. Now we're going to move on to the second part of the test. I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Here is your task card. Describe a trip you would like to make again. You should say where you went, what you did there, who you went there with, and explain why you would like to make the trip again. Your 1 minute starts now. All right, Mia? You may start speaking now.
Thank you. So, a trip I'd love to make again is one I took about 3 years ago to Kyoto in Japan. I went there with my younger sister, and it was actually our first time traveling together as adults, which made it quite special. We spent about a week exploring the city, visiting temples, wandering through the bamboo forest in Arashima, and trying all sorts of traditional food. One of the highlights was attending a tea ceremony. It was such a peaceful experience, and it gave us a glimpse into the cultural values of patience and mindfulness. What made the trip particularly memorable was the pace of it. We weren't rushing from one tourist spot to another. We allowed ourselves to get lost in small streets, talk to locals, and just absorb the atmosphere. And my sister and I grew much closer during that time. We had long conversations over dinner, laughed a lot, and shared experiences that we still talk about today. I'd love to go back because Kyoto has this unique blend of tradition and modernity that feels almost timeless, and I think revisiting it would bring back that sense of calm and connection that we felt the first time. It's one of those places that stays with you long after you've left.
Thank you. I'll stop you there. Now we're going to move on to the third part of the test. In this part, we'll discuss some more general questions related to the topic of traveling. Why do you think people enjoy traveling?
Well, I think people travel for a variety of reasons, but at the core of it, travel offers perspective. When you step outside your usual environment, you're exposed to different cultures, different ways of thinking, and even different rhythms of life. It challenges your assumptions and broadens your understanding of the world. And for many people, it's also a way to disconnect from routine and reconnect with themselves.
Do you think traveling has changed in recent years?
Yes, definitely. Travel has become much more accessible, both financially and logistically. With budget airlines, online booking platforms, and social media inspiration, people are traveling more frequently and to more diverse destinations. At the same time, I think travelers today are more conscious about sustainability and cultural sensitivity, which is a positive shift.
Some people say traveling alone is better than traveling with others. What's your view on that?
I think both experiences have their own value. Traveling alone gives you complete freedom. You can follow your own pace, make spontaneous decisions, and reflect more deeply. But traveling with others creates shared memories and strengthens relationships. Personally, I enjoy both, depending on what I need at that moment in my life.
How do you think travel influences a person's character?
I'd say it builds resilience and adaptability. When you travel, things don't always go as planned. Flights get delayed, you get lost, you face language barriers. Learning to navigate those situations calmly can really shape your confidence. And being exposed to different cultures fosters empathy and open-mindedness, which are qualities that stay with you long after the trip ends.
And finally, do you think people will travel more or less in the future?
I think people will continue to travel, but perhaps more thoughtfully. There's growing awareness about environmental impact, so I imagine travelers will prioritize longer, more meaningful trips rather than frequent short ones. Technology will also play a role. Virtual planning tools, translation apps, and even virtual reality might influence how people choose destinations. But the desire to explore the world is deeply human, so I don't see it diminishing.
Thank you very much, Mia. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you, Alex.